Hey everyone, my name's Nick, and for my nutrition project, I decided to research Lyme disease. Not just Lyme disease, but also alternative methods of treatment to Lyme disease that kind of deviate away from conventional medicine and antibiotic therapy. So in this presentation, I'm going to give a little bit of background onto what Lyme disease is, what causes it, how you can get it, how you can prevent yourself from getting it, and different unorthodox alternative treatments besides antibiotics should you get infected with Lyme disease. Now, we all live in the Northeast. Connecticut is the birthplace of Lyme disease. I myself have had Lyme disease 2 times. Both were terrible experiences. I didn't have any luck with antibiotics. So this was definitely a personal topic that I like to research. Lyme disease is a pathogenic bacterial infection spread by the vectors known as black-legged ticks here in the Northeast. When a tick embeds itself into your skin, it feeds on the human host's blood while simultaneously releasing bacteria into the bloodstream. The bacteria is known as Borrelia burgdorferi, and it's a type of spirochete bacteria, meaning that the shape of the bacteria cell is shaped like a corkscrew. It's a spiral. This is interesting because once the bacteria is in the body, it's very, very elusive, meaning that it's very good at hiding from antibiotics once you take them, because they have the tendency to burrow into the body tissue. So think of it like this. It's a spiral-shaped bacteria, and it's drilling like a corkscrew into the muscle tissue, into the bone tissue, etc. This is what causes joint pain and muscular pain as symptoms for most people infected with Lyme disease. However, it does take time for them to start causing symptoms in the body. And oftentimes, by the time someone does have symptoms, they're already infected, and oftentimes it's too late for antibiotics to work. With that being said, many people have had success with antibiotic therapy, amoxicillin, doxycycline. Those are the 2 main antibiotics prescribed for Lyme disease cases. However, it is important to take the antibiotics as soon as possible. And it only really works at eradicating the bacteria if you're diagnosed and started on the treatment within a relatively short time of being infected with a tick bite. This isn't the case for many people. Many people don't even see the ticks on them. About 50% of people get the red bullseye rash at the tick site. So half the people don't have that. Most people don't even know they've been bitten by a tick. And by the time they get symptoms, it's already too late. So this is why a lot of people are deviating away from this and trying to find other therapies, other solutions for their symptoms and their Lyme disease, because antibiotics just aren't cutting it. So now that that's out of the way, I want to talk about some alternative therapies that I've found that are really interesting and do have some promising potential to cure Lyme disease. But unfortunately, a lot of these aren't recognized by conventional medicine, so a lot of physicians aren't using these in their practice. But over time, I do expect to see these more kind of integrated into modern day medicine. So one form of treatment that I thought was really cool and I want to talk about is hyperbaric oxygen therapy. Now, some researchers have had some success in treating Lyme disease patients with this. Essentially, they put the patient in a hyperbaric chamber and increase the pressure. So in turn, that increases the level of oxygen in the blood. And Borrelia burgdorferi, the bacteria that cause Lyme disease, thrives best in anaerobic environments, meaning it grows and it thrives best at levels of low oxygen, little to none oxygen. So the idea behind this is flooding the body with oxygen, increasing the level of oxygen in the body, kind of halts the growth of the bacteria, and the idea is to kind of eventually kill it off. One other really cool alternative treatment to Lyme disease that I did some research on was something called photon therapy. So essentially what it is, it involves a small portable light-emitting device that goes over the skin for an X amount of time. And a group of scientists use this on a group of patients with Lyme disease. And the idea behind it is the light is injected into the cells of the body, and that forces the bacteria out, so then in turn the cells can strengthen themselves and then attack the bacteria on their own and create a stronger immune response. This may sound far-fetched, but one study showed that there was a 96% cure rate in Lyme disease after this treatment. So why isn't it around? It does have its drawbacks. It's a very, very expensive device. The one in this particular study is called a Bionic 880 photon therapy machine, and anyone can buy one. They're portable and can be used at home. However, they do sell for upwards of $13,000. So probably not the most practical solution, but that's definitely a cool alternative treatment method. So one guy, Dr. Ying Zhang of Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School of Public Health in Maryland, did a study that involved 35 plant-based essential oils, and he pitted them against Lyme disease bacteria. And his results were pretty amazing. He found that 10 of the 35 essential oils eradicated Lyme disease better than most antibiotics prescribed by doctors do. So this is huge. So the essential oils came from, they were derived from garlic cloves, thyme leaves, allspice berries, eucalyptus leaves, and cinnamon bark. And that's just a few of them. Now this makes sense if you think about it, because plants naturally have antimicrobial characteristics. So when harvested and concentrated into an oil, I definitely could see how this can treat Lyme disease and definitely be beneficial for people looking for alternative methods. So to tie this presentation into nutrition specifically, there are a lot of diets out there that are kind of geared towards Lyme patients and claim to help people with Lyme disease. I did my own research. I found a lot of different things, but some of the general trends that I want to talk about when it comes to diet and Lyme disease, one of the big ones that a lot of people mention are avoiding gluten, dairy, and sugar. For whatever reason, those are the three foods that potentiate the infection even further and cause inflammation. So a lot of people have had success in their Lyme symptoms by cutting out these food groups, but everyone's different, so it might take different combinations of food cessations, but that's kind of the general trend of what people say. Another really important thing, it sounds simple, but this is super important, especially for Lyme disease patients, is to drink a lot of water, a lot of filtered, purified water. Having those bacteria in your body, they're constantly releasing toxins into your body. Drinking tons of water, half your body weight in pounds, except in ounces per day, to flush out those toxins, keep your body lubricated, and give your cells the water that it needs. So, in terms of regular food, vegetables should be a high priority. Vegetables like garlic, squash, broccoli, spinach, super high in minerals and vitamins, and very nutritious. Lots of phytochemicals, we all know that. Good for you, everyone needs it, but your body really needs that when it's fighting an infection to get the nutrients that it needs to carry out all the chemical reactions needed. Fruits should be consumed in moderation, but not as much as vegetables. A smaller portion of fruits, specifically dark berries, raspberries, blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, because they have low sugar and high nutrient content. Fruits like apples are good because they're rich in fiber, but they're also high in sugar, and we don't want sugar for Lyme disease patients. So typically fruit in moderation, more dark berries. In terms of fats and meats, generally protein sources should be obtained if somebody can tolerate animal meat, clean meats such as wild-caught fish, high-quality chicken, turkey, poultry, and grass-fed organic beef would probably be the most effective choice. Steer clear from low-grade pork and beef. This is just general information for everybody, as we know, but for Lyme disease patients, their bodies really need to conserve that energy and not be bombarded with artificial and low-grade foods so it can fight the infection on its own. Now for fats, obviously we want to deviate away from the soybean oils and the corn oils because they're cheap, they're inexpensive, and they're not good for you at all, as we know. Instead, replacing those with healthy fats, avocado oils, and virgin coconut oil are much better choices. Coconut oil is praised for a lot of its effects. It's a natural antibiotic, and it has natural anti-inflammatory effects, along with having the ability to lower LDL cholesterol levels, which is a big plus. So that's just about the end of my presentation here. I hope it was informational and I was able to teach you a little bit more about Lyme disease and these different therapeutic, unorthodox, alternative methods of treatment that you can use in the event that you do have Lyme disease or someone you know contracts it and antibiotics just aren't cutting it for them. I know a lot of people that have persisting symptoms of Lyme disease months to even years after their initial diagnosis. I'm one of those people. I still suffer some neurological effects from my initial Lyme disease diagnosis several years ago. So this was a lot of fun for me to research, and I really enjoyed doing this project. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions, I usually sit in the back of the class. So thanks again.